good afternoon, I think. Yeah, we are still in the afternoon. I just landed this morning, and for those who know, I am obviously not Her Excellency Razan Al-Mubarak, who could not make it today. She is a new mother, and she could not free herself to come here. But I will stand in a place to show you what we are. That's me. So I'm the Director General of the Mohammed bin Zayed Species Conservation Fund, but I will speak to you in the capacity of the Environment Agency Abu Dhabi, which is a government agency of the Abu Dhabi Emirates, of, I think, a very interesting and pioneering and groundbreaking project that bring us closer to what we are trying to aspire throughout our career as biologists, but also as people loving nature. And this project is basically the reintroduction of the Scimitar Oryx in the Republic of Chad, okay, which is, sorry for that. Yeah, I'm afraid it will all be messed up there. So this species was extinct in the wild in the 1980s. Completely disappear from all its range for essentially through hunting and persecution around different area and conflict. It is an IUCN species which is categorized as extinct in the wild, only present in captivity. Thanks God, we have a number of Scimitar Oryx spread throughout the world in different zoological institutions, and those for very different reasons. These animals are not necessarily spectacular display animals. They are usually white with a patch of brown. They don't move much. They are very expressive, but they are very iconic of semi-arid and arid environment throughout the world. And they've got the main characteristic is that fantastic horn there. In the Arabian Peninsula, these species has been very present in captive collection through state gift. People were giving oryx to dignitaries of the Gulf state when these countries started to emerge as world power. So we have collection of between private and government of several thousand oryx. Our environment agency has more than 6,000 oryx in our care. So they are not rare in captivity, but they have never been managed for conservation. They've been managed as private collection or just to show there. Early attempts have been to reintroduce oryx in fenced area in some range state, like Tunisia, Morocco, and other countries like that. But this animal has never been reintroduced in the wild in this former range. When it comes to that, the Abu Dhabi government, inheriting this large collection from the president, decided a number of years ago that it was time for it to bring them back to their home country. As a government, no strings attached. It was purely genuine initiative of bringing an animal back in the wild. The question there is where, how to do it, with whom, and how fast can we do it. So we need to have there a group of people and institutions coming together and able to put aside their difference to actually reach a common goal. When it comes to an animal like oryx, in a place where, and in an environment that for years now have been a bit neglected by a lot of the conservation community. We are not a rainforest. We are not a biodiversity hotspot. It's very difficult to find key specialists. Fortunately, we had 2 or 3 very old conservationists. You have one here, there, a fossilized one, who still believe in the importance of arid and desert ecosystem, okay? And I'd carry the flag nearly single-handedly for years of promoting the conservation of desert environment. So we had these people. We had to use them and work with them and be able to use their enthusiasm and commitment by supporting what they're doing. We also had a choice of where to reintroduce a species like that. And when it comes to oryx, you have the choice in very attracting species, countries: Chad, Mali, Niger, Libya, Sudan, all countries that we love working in. Okay? So after a number of back and forth, it was decided that Chad was probably the most appropriate country to start to initiate this kind of project. A project where you need space, you need very little people in numbers, and you need to have a good partner on the ground from a government point of view. And we were very fortunate to have a very, very good response from the Chadian government at the highest level, directly from the president level. Coming from a Gulf country, from a government side also, it's much easier also to get connection between government. They speak the same language, they've got the same constituency, they know how to not be democratic when they need not to be democratic, so we can move forward. We also had good NGO partner working at different level of the reintroduction project. So the three main at that stage were the Environment Agency, the government of Chad, and the Sahara Conservation Fund that Steve Montford is the chair of. And I've been, as I said, really championing the conservation of the oryx and the desert environment for years. We needed also, even if we had a large collection of animals in the wild, in captivity in Abu Dhabi, we needed to rely to as much genetic diversity as we could find to reintroduce. It's one thing to keep animals in captivity, it's completely another to have them able and fit to cope with the wild situation. So maximizing the genetic diversity of a species that we actually know very little. Some of our collection, we don't know where the oryx are coming from. We have no idea. So a huge genetic work has been done in Europe and in the States, as well as in Abu Dhabi, by different organizations, to actually try to maximize the genetic makeup of the oryx that will go. So you have here 7 different AZA and private institutions in the US, Europe and UK, UAE, and you need to host these new world herd into a dedicated home. So the Abu Dhabi government decided to invest in building a purpose-built capacity facilities to host the world herd, with a capacity of about 400 animals to be managed there. The aim of this reintroduction also, we wanted to make it a little bit different, is actually to make it at scale. So we are not talking of reintroducing 2, 5, 10 individuals and see what happens. Right from the beginning, we were convinced that we need to be bold. We have a window of opportunity in terms of time, space, and finance that we need to go very fast. So decided that we will bring back at least 500 animals back in Chad. And we wanted from day one to have animals present at every single stage of the project. In Abu Dhabi, in the pre-release condition, stage in Chad on a pre-release place, and in the wild, so that we had all the chains, so that the decision maker and all the partner could actually see right from day one where this oryx will be, and needed to be ready to cope for that. So the Chad government needed to put in place right away patrolling, protected area management, support to the local community, because they had oryx in the wild. We needed to have full-time staff on the pre-release place in Chad, so that also the local population could see that. And we in Abu Dhabi needed to be ready with our facilities to continue feeding that process for many, many, many years. Okay? So it's a long journey. It's over 3,800 kilometers for the oryx. Thankfully, they are not flying United Airlines. So, meaning that when they come on a plane, they stay on a plane. And they arrive in Chad. So we had also a fantastic support from the UAE Army, who provided the transport and the logistic free for the project and committed to provide that for the rest of the project. We had also, in the first instance, the support of the French Legionnaires in Chad, who were there when the plane came, did not know what it was, but helped us with their equipment, with their truck to actually unload the Oryx and so on. And so the Oryx went back in the wild. We have a big gathering for the first release of Oryx there. Oryx are easy. I mean, we as biologists always try to complicate things. The genetic, the veterinarian, the food, the predation, all these kind of things. Some of the species we are dealing with are extremely resilient. They know what they do when they are in the wild. You don't need to teach them. They will do it. They are extremely tough, hardy. They will survive. We sometimes complicate as biologists. We've got too many questions that we need answers from. This guy needs peace, food, and space. You give them that, they'll take care of themselves, no problem. So we have now 75 Oryx already in Chad. 50 have been released. And the project started really last year. We already have 10 calves born in the wild, and we've got a number of pregnant females still in the pre-release pen. All the Oryx so far are equipped with satellite color, which means that the team here in the Smithsonian can follow on a daily basis the activities of all the Oryx which are released, which give us a mine of data which makes scientists extremely happy. But we can follow and we can see how these animals are actually evolving in their environment. And they are doing very well. So far, no problem. We don't have any mortality of adult. We don't have predation. We don't have mortality. We have birth there. We lost some of the calf, 4 so far, which for me is a welcome sign. At least it means that they are back in the ecosystem. The predator have to also get something out of the project, the end of it. But it means that we start to get them back into the ecosystem, and that's also very, very important. But I mean also it's a testing time also for the partnership. And I think when we look partnership for conservation, we need to be ready to be, it's very easy when everything works well. But when you start to have issues, that's where you look at the strength of your partnership and see if all your partners are actually looking for the same thing. So when you start to have predation, you need to glue together. Some people will want to protect the Oryx to say, okay, no, hang on a minute. We cannot have predator taking them off or hunting them. So we need to teach them more. We need to protect them. We need to accompany them. Some will say, why don't you shoot all the jackal and predator there? Problem solved. Okay? So we need to be ready to go through that. And that's train a partnership, again, between government and other things, or between biologists. Sometimes we've got completely opposite vision. So it's a constant dialogue and constant reinventing of how we do things. But we need to make sure that at least the end goal we all agree on and be able to trash this issue as they come. So all the collaborating partners so far, as I said, we mentioned the Environment Agency, the government of Chad, the Sahara Conservation Fund, the Smithsonian, the Zoological Society of London, Fossil Rim here in the US, Marwell, which is in the UK, the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, who did all the genetic work, have all contributed there. But there are also people which are not there, which are all the people surrounding the release site, all the local community now who are participating in the project, and all the decision makers at home or in Chad who are actually making sure that the project is happening. So when it works, it's gone, but it is an ongoing work. We need to always keep at cultivating, maintaining your partnership. The biological aspect, the ecological aspect of the project, we all know more that, and we tend to concentrate all our resources on that aspect. However, the human aspect, how our institutions glue together, is extremely important. And that needs to be maintained, worked at, and really be at the center of the attention, because very often that's what makes a project a long-term success. Thank you.